How's it going, YouTube? Lawler here, back and slightly less sick. We're going to be covering some pretty insane roster stuff. If you guys haven't seen by the title, there is a lot to sink our teeth into and some developments. I always tell you guys, hey, there's a difference between confirmations and rumors, and this video is exactly why. While things are trending in a certain direction, you never know what's going to happen. So, as always, if you guys want to stay up to date, two ways to do it. Number one, go down to the description below. There is a link to this document, which we try to update as much as possible. A lot of craziness going on. We'll try to update you guys on trial rumors, all that kind of stuff. But if you guys can't tune into the videos live, if you can't stop by the stream live when we talk about this stuff, this document is your quick cheat sheet to all things going on during this offseason. There's a bunch of tabs down below that get updated. First one is going to be with AJ. And unfortunately for AJ, he is retiring. He puts out a tweet saying, hey, I'm going to keep this short for now, but I'm retiring from RLCS, but I'm not going to disappear from the community. Don't worry. I'm still going to stream, still going to do YouTube, which is dope. I hope AJ becomes another figurehead. We need more people doing watch parties and doing things that provide content and viewership to the space. TLDR of this, he basically talks about how he's been doing some personal stuff. If you guys don't remember, AJ also recently tried to get hand injections to reduce sweating for his hands when competing. Which was only like a couple months ago. But the reality is, he's like, I could join an org, I could half-ass it and pick up a salary and kind of limp and do it that way. But he's like, I'm not willing to do that unless I can give my 100%. I'm losing passion. It's just not worth it. Maybe in the future, maybe things change. But as of right now, I'm just going to retire and I'm going to hang it up and just say, hey, I'm going to focus on content. I hope you guys support me. I appreciate it if you do, so on and so forth. If you guys don't remember AJ's career, he's actually been doing it for quite a while. Obviously, coming in primarily with the FlyQuest roster, which is where most of us know. FlyQuest with Prime Thunder and Wonder, I'm pretty sure was what the team was almost the first team to come from the RLRS into the RLCS and make the playoffs and go to a LAN. They barely missed out because they had to face a NRG that was performing pretty poorly in league play. So their first seed was NRG, and then NRG 4-0'd him and popped off. And I hate that I know that off the top of my head. Useless information. But the following season, in Season 7, is when NA dominated the group stage. This team became Rogue, and it was with Kronovi, Wonder, and AJ. And they went on and placed top 4 before losing to G2. And then G2, obviously, as you guys know, the overtime, ball hit the ground at 0 seconds type thing with Scrubkilla. Vitality goes on to win it. Scrubkilla wins his first world championship. So AJ's had a pretty solid career. The last time we saw him really compete at the highest level was going to be the attempt they made with FaZe Clan, where they beat V1 because V1 threw really hard in the quarterfinals. Obviously, most recently playing with M80, we saw the Swiss bracket domination, losing in top 8, but just can't find that next step. So AJ retiring on that one. We're gonna jump back into more details, and this one is another organization leaving. To no one's surprise, it is going to be TSM exiting. TSM, to me, kind of limped into the space with their return. They picked up a team that was kind of in between. While I think the Hey Bro guys had some potential, they ironically got worse as soon as this organization came in, and they brought in Eclipse as a coach. Benefits of people adjusting and adapting to your playstyle, right? It's tough to stay at the top. That's why we commend players that are able to continue to win, even though everybody's gunning for their position. TSM came in, and while they do talk about not having enough details about the ecosystem, TSM kind of limped in, and when they picked up the team, most of us believed it was literally just for the EWC stimulus money, which kind of how it goes. But let's be perfectly clear. When they brought in LeafX, they didn't even hire a production team. They just had a communicaster take over. At the same time, they also made 0 content, 0 coverage, 0 anything. Like, they didn't really do anything to support the team. Like, we talk about in my previous videos where I talk about orgs need to also be held accountable. They need to make content. They need to do stuff in that regard to support the teams. TSM did the bare minimum. Let's be completely honest with it. So not surprised to see them leave, because like, unless they can find a team for dirt cheap, I don't foresee them sticking around. Financially though, TSM is actually in a really good place. Part of the reason why is they're pretty cutthroat about the way they spend money. So the way to go. On top of that, we also have Gen G leaving as well, potentially as a temporary leave. Gen G has released Firstkiller, Jack, and Chronic. A lot of people trying to figure out where the heck they're going. Current conversation is FK, LJ, and Third, which we will give you an official confirmation in this video about. I'm trying to figure out what they're going to end up doing with their Third. Jack very likely going back to Dignitas after a 2-year stint. He does have his own tweet about this. I recommend going and check it out. But Gen G stepping out, releasing their team, which now makes these guys free agents so they can go and pick and choose what they want to do. We basically knew this was happening, as many of the top tier organizations are trying to downsize or try to reduce how much they're paying. Because of that, we do get confirmation afterwards with conversations happening about what Chronic is doing. Is Chronic going to go with RMC and Cheese is going to be left out? Or is Chronic going to go with LJ and FK? We don't know. Until today, we do have official confirmation coming from the coach of the team, Sad Jr. They have officially announced that the roster is going to be LJ, FK, and Chronic with Sad Jr.'s coach. But as you can tell, they state the team is looking for an organization to represent. And many of us, based upon rumors and conversations, had it being decided that potentially NRG comes in to pick up this roster. That's what all the chatter was about. It was supposed to be NRG. But because of the recent information about G2 happening and G2 confirming, hey, we probably aren't coming back unless we can find a title partnership, NRG has the opportunity to do something silly, to which we think is actually going to happen. There is a very good chance that G2 leaves the scene because they cannot afford to stay in it, because 80% of the money they're spending has to come from partnerships and third-party stuff or merch and decal sales and stuff like that. NRG is likely going to pick up the G2 roster, which means that they now don't have an organization, whether it's Gen G or otherwise. We'll have to wait and see. But based upon them saying, hey, they're looking for a team to represent, as of right now, I think the second best team on paper, we don't know how it's going to go, scrims and stuff pairing, but it looks like this is going to be the team that is the second best, we assume, in North America. No organization, they're going to have to try to field one and try to find one. Okay. So that's part of the conversation there. On top of that, then, Cheese then, because Chronic is no longer on RMC 2.0, as we've rumored, is going back. All three players, Magic Bear, Reddles, and Cheese, have all tweeted RMC. They're interacting with each other. And to provide even further context, Cheese has been in chat. I don't know if he's still in chat. If he is, he can say, hey, his coach Greg did pull him into a Discord call, so there's a chance that he isn't there. Because I asked him straight up, I'm like, hey man, what is the mentality about basically being told you're being kicked off the team, we want to try something different, now you're coming back, you're going back to your old team, what's the mentality? And he said, and I quote, I don't mind it honestly. They want to win, I want to win, we will do anything to win, but this is a wake-up call and I'm going to grind harder than ever before, which I love. That's a W mentality. I'm a big fan of Cheese. I think he's super talented. So with that in mind, I think the fact that Cheese is very understanding of like, listen, man, I got to work harder so I can make sure I'm more valuable so they don't feel the reason to get rid of me. So Cheese, RMC back, they're sticking together. There is a lot of good possibility that Gen G picks up that roster. So no longer Luminosity, now RMC. RMC might become Gen G. That's what the conversation is. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. It just depends on, for Gen G, what value is provided, who's going to give us the biggest upside for content and exposure, marketing options. Obviously, Reddles having a big following is very helpful, but you could probably say that the other team is probably going to be more successful. And again, we saw how RMC played during the offseason in Shift Summer League, and they looked pretty dang good. So we will have to wait and see on those. Outside of that, the conversation has been a lot about the G2 situation, right? G2 has been kind of crazy. This is the follow-up as well, like we just alluded to. Because G2 is very likely they're not coming back, NRG is likely to go and pick up that former G2 roster, because it does seem like G2 is sticking together. There has been a lot of conversation and a lot of rumors about that G2 team due to some tryouts and scrims going on. But those tryouts and scrims, from what we have heard, are primarily just for FIFA E. FIFA E is going to be going on in a little over a month. It is what the national teams or the countries are representing and competing. USA, as I told you guys, Beast Mode's probably not doing it. They haven't contacted anybody yet. We don't know what's going on. Deadlines were the other day. Like, they've already closed, so we don't know what the field is going to be for USA's representation going up against that powerhouse that is a super team for France with Farah, Zen, Monkey Moon, and Vatira. Like, NA, I'm a little worried with. My assumption is G2 is sticking, even though they're no longer under the G2 banner. Although I have heard from others that there is official trials potentially going on where Daniel has also tried out with that FK LJ team, but now all that is put to bed because they have an official confirmation that is Chronic, so we don't even have to worry about it. So we do have official confirmation of what those teams are going to be and how things are shaping up, which leads me to believe that if that is the case, with Nas being very heavily sought after, I would not be surprised if Nas does one of two things. Now, Nas either, which my assumption is he goes to Dignitas and plays with Abjack and Stizzy. That's my assumption. If he doesn't do that, then I would not be surprised if he goes and joins Oski and Itachi. Those are the top two I'm assuming he is thinking about. That is my guess. That is not confirmed, but that is how I think things are shaping out and teams and players you need to look out for. So that as a quick reconfirmation on things. To reiterate, G2 no longer G2. 3 players sticking together. So you got BMO, Atomic, Daniel. What their organization is going to be, we don't know. We assume it's going to be NRG that swoops in and picks them up. What does that mean now for the other team? LJ, FK, and Chronic, which is confirmed. We don't know. We don't know who's going to pick them up. Is it going to be Gen G or otherwise? RMC, also confirmed. Cheese, Magic Berettos, sticking. That's not changing. They got Greg as coach. Life is good. Are they going to get Gen G? We don't know. On the other side, there's rumors of Space Station picking up the Snowmen with Xperia as coach. We'll have to wait and see. As for where Nas is going, obviously as the Super Ole team, my assumption is he's looking at one of two places. Either Dignitas with Stizzy and Jack, or Oski and Itachi under whatever that organization will be. Those are kind of the big players. That's kind of the current updates, but I will do my best to keep you guys up to date on all things going on in the off season. You want to make sure you don't miss out on it. Easiest way to do so, hit subscribe down below, turn on the notifications, or stop by the socials. They're all in the description down below. Check out the roster document. My Discord will ping you anytime a new video comes out, barring YouTube actually posts the notification. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below. Stop by the stream, come say what's up, hang out in our Discord. We'd love to have you. Shout out to Scribbles and chat for linking it as well. But that's going to do it for this video. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.